Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the reigning world champion, the Terran in the blue, the Frenchman from Team Liquid. It's Clem, facing off against one of the only Zergs who can hope to keep up with him. In the red, the Italian stallion, we have Reynor. In a best-of-7 Terran versus Zerg grand finals between two players who will combine for easily over 1,000 APM. But it only takes two to smash that like button, and maybe even subscribe. Help me counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we... Yeah, give or take. 1,656 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As the SCV, unable to accomplish its goal of blocking the third base, Reynor splits the difference by sending out two drones at once, and now the Reaper just gonna have to content itself with bullying the drones and the Lynx, which is, you know, most of its early game purpose anyways. Zerglings gonna nibble at the ankles just a little bit, but the Queen comes out to politely yet firmly ask it to leave. The Reaper, of course, never one to abide by social convention, gonna come in. No, Clem, and get off my creep. Yeah, we'll let you have this one. All right. The first Reaper taken out by the Queen. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. As I cannot tell you the emotional coup there for Reynor. You never, ever expect to take out the first Reaper, especially not against Clem. And for both sides, both for Reynor on the positive side and for Clem on the negative one, it is large. All right, much larger than the Reaper itself would suggest. One, the inability to see even if there are Zerglings coming across the map. Two, to get away with creeps. Not only that, but he didn't even get the tumor. He got nothing. Good day, sir. As a Terran player, that is a tilter right there, but of course we usually start at least a 45-degree angle. Well, we'll see how acutely aware Reynor is of the dangers that could follow it up. Of course, he's got the Overlord hanging out, as it does, watching the Hellions come across. Clem actually split the difference on the Hellions to make sure, or at least try to cover his bases in case Reynor tried a big Zergling run by, which, you know, seems kind of on brand. But no Zerglings on the way, no roaches, nothing of the sort. Instead, Reynor just droning up and enjoying the fact that he can get his creep spread out there without being constantly poked and prodded. But that might not last forever. The Queen teams are pushing the creep out on either side. The Hellions looking for an opportunity, but not finding it. As another creep tumor completes, and feels like Reynor... only one Reaper has died, yet so much has happened. Queen still just constantly scratching at the paint of those Hellions. Knitting needles whipped out, trying to make sure they don't get anywhere close. And a lair is on the way. There is Cloak and a Banshee in production. Two more barracks, of course, for Clem, going for the 3cc into 3 racks. Probably then 5, and then 8, more than likely. The Marines, the Medevacs, Mines and Tanks. A staple of Terran versus Zerg. And really, it doesn't matter too much how badly the early game goes. If you have a 3-base economy, you can probably put a strong army on the field. And if you're Clem, you can make it work. Double engineering bay on the way as well, making sure he has his production online. The Hellions still sharking around, but they haven't even been able to take out a creep tumor. He hasn't committed any scans. Reynor at 5 minutes in the match is stretching out the creep almost halfway across, which is about as good as it's ever going to get. A Spore Crawler comes scampering down and will burrow next to the 4th base as Reynor preemptively building it. Clem preemptively cloaks the pre-cloak here to try to sneak up on the Queens, and, well, it's just the Queens right now, isn't it? But getting tapped on the shoulder by the Transfuse, and, well, almost no damage, if not, well, the Hellions try to dart in. A Queen held together, the Overseers here. And so far, Reynor has lost nothing. It is so rare to see a perfect game, such as it is, out of Zerg. And behind it, possibly the only player in the world who can reliably make Mutas work. The Mutalisk Den, the Spire is on the way. And in this scenario, where he's already up to 69 drones, he's got a nice position in order to move forward technologically. The reason mutas are not usually used at this level is that pretty much every single Terran build comes with a heaping helping of anti-air capability built into it. Whether it's Marines, Mines, or if you're going mech, it's Cyclones. Either way, mutas will get shredded from a strong glance at a regular army. But Reynor has the APM to make it work. I've seen him go over 800 with mutas. We're looking at 380 average right now. He's warming up to it. So clearly not spamming. At least not yet. And I see the arguments of like, oh, how much of that APM is useful? And the answer is enough on frequent occasion. As not every single action is perfect or useful, but many of them are, and you can definitely tell. Well, here comes the Marine timing. The mutas are on the field. Baneling speed is still pretty far off, which means it's going to be hard to actually crush this sort of attack. The mutas, I think, completely unscouted here, will blindside Clem. He picks up, but the mutas are chasing him down. Might drop out on the other side of the rocks, try to find an opportunity, but the Zerglings are going to get on top. Looks like he's going to trade. Oh, beautiful micro back. The Queens top him out and takes out one of the medevacs. And so far, Reynor has not lost a single muta. Incredible Mutalisk micro. He lost just a few Zerglings, pushed everything back, knocked a medevac out of the sky, and he's got 90 drones behind it. It doesn't get better than this. This is the best start that any Mutalisk player has had against Clem probably the entire year, besides matches where he lost all his SCVs to a Rocholin or something, I guess. But combat shield is done. Clem does have those 5 racks online. He's going for drilling claws. He's got 2-2 started. He's going to have an upgrade advantage. But Reynor is taking the 5th base. Does he have an infestation pit? No. Does he have a Hydra Den? No. We'll tell you what he does have. He has melee attack at Carapace, flyer attack on the way, burrow, and overlord speed. Pretty much everything he's doing is meant to complement these mutas and no one else. All right, they don't like sharing. So the infestation pit starts now, but it's a mass muta play, and Clem's sitting back as if you don't get the momentum against the first set of mutas, you can't really afford to move out past that point. He's even getting Thors. Down goes the very first muta of the game. The Lings and Banes. There's 92 Zerglings. Number going down as he morphs a dozen into Banelings. Queens coming with some transfuse, patching them up. Mutas heal quite quickly if they survive the engagements, and, well, Reynor's thinking about collapsing on this army, and here we are. Flying in with a flock of mutas, tries to pick up some of the Marines, will do so, but a whole bunch more may be suffering for it. Widow Mines will burrow down, the Banelings on top of them. Great split out of Reynor. I think he manually detonates in order to make sure the Widow Mines don't get much done. But Clem is at 183 supply. Burrowed Banes. And at a perfect timing. He's definitely spotting it. And gets the hit. Smashes the Marines. Opens up an opportunity. A critical amount of damage. And now those Marines will have to call in reinforcements. How many? I don't know if we can see how many in that exact... It looks like 15 went down with the Bane Mine. Efficiently done. Was only there for a few seconds, pays off nearly immediately. That's exactly what you want from these Bane Mines. You don't want to be sitting there distracting yourself for the next... Oh. Clem reflexively put the Thor in single target mode and then put it right back into its default splash damage mode. Which, this may be the first time in many moons that Clem has actually used that mode. Because pretty much the only unit it's actually efficient against is Mutalisks. So, Thor's being added in. Thor, Marine, Marauder, Medevac, and Mine. Though no Mines at this composition. That is a lot of mutas. He doesn't have much here to contest it. Clem, not really partitioning off enough units to deal with this. Gonna split off to deal with the Mines. Spreads out the Lings and Banes. Tries to thin out the army. Not quite enough so far. 21 mutas overhead. 78 more Zerglings in production. Reynor at 93 drones. Reynor has 3,800 minerals and 1,500 gas a minute. This is pure Zerg right now. Both players have reached over 500 actions per minute and rising as the stakes continue to be raised and mistakes seem few and far between. Reynor taking the bottom left corner. Here come the Mutas again, trying to draw out the Widowmine shots. Not going to be enough. Splash damage from the Thor. We'll push it back. One Queen brutalized on the front lines, but will be remembered. Lurker Den is on the way. This is something we haven't seen from Reynor. When he usually goes Mutas, he's fully committed, but he's ready to switch into the Lurkers, and they may be required if Clem gets to 3-3. But he's only got +3 attack on the way. The Mutas swinging all the way back, but that's 40 army supply. That's not with the main attack. There's a single missile turret, a single Widowmine. That's not going to be remotely enough. Turret goes down in 2 swipes. Widowmine taken out. There's almost nothing back at home to defend. Clem scrambles backwards before he decides to go forward. But the Mutas are ransacking the 3rd base, and now they're on top of the production. Continuing to go forward. The Bio Army, with the Mutas on the other side of the map, knows he can be a little greedier with it. Pushes back the creep. Another wave. Whoa, another hit slams in. Clem, the Thor turret with the medevac dragged around. Lurker range is on the way. And Reynor with 5,000 minerals in the bank, which is madness. The Mutas swinging in, combining with the main army. Gonna be able to knock out maybe one of the medevacs, not quite. Dives, but missile turret will drive him back. 8 Hydralisks on the way. And the Lurker switch is beautifully timed, but at the same time, Clem with ghosts in production. Well, single ghost, because he's suffering from success. Suffering from having 200 supply. Baneling Mine, though, gets a hit. The scan a little bit late. The Vendaya scan out of a bit of panic there. The Widowmine's decent hit on the Banelings. Clem pushes around the side, only picks up the Marines that are vulnerable. A lack of Banelings means that Reynor probably won't be able to pursue here. Another Widowmine hit. The Thor almost dead in the red, but still, it's the Zerg who have fled. When Reynor, despite that 200 supply, is facing off against this ridiculously efficient Terran army. It has +3 weapons and +1 mech armor. +3 infantry armor and +2 mech are on the way. Reynor is sitting on 5, 6, 7 bases right now. The Thor going to be intercepted. And Thor is no longer here. The Mutas still getting damage done, but Lurker's added in. Reynor has played this beautifully. But can he close it out? He has the tech switch. He still has the initiative, which Zerg players rarely do at this stage of the game. But Clem is Clem. More wisdom if you like and subscribe. Alright. Thor comes back. He's targeting the Ghost Academy. May cost him a couple Mutas, but that... Clem already rebuilding the Ghost Academy. Oh, the Mutas stacking up. The Thors will obliterate them, but most of the army is here. Banelings rolling through. Mutas going to be shredded by the Thor and missile turrets, but Reynor has already shifted into the Lurkers and Hydras. Widowmine burrows down. Gonna deal with a lot of this. The Widowmine's actually getting a lot of damage done. The Ghost as well. The Armory in a precarious position, but Clem, he spots the Lurkers. He picks up and goes to the main because Lurkers cannot fly. The main base vulnerable. Clem outmaneuvering here. It's just Marines, but there's only one Baneling can be targeted with ease. A single Lurker burrows, though. And with it there, well, Clem splits. He's thinking about stimming. There's some ghosts underneath, covered by the medevacs. One Lurker, badly bruised. More counterattack. Zerglings getting more and more damage. Reynor on top of the Thor will take it out as well. Adrenal glands done. Turrets burning. Everything under stress right now, but both players still very much intact. Clem still has 4 bases and 63 SCVs. Reynor still has money in the bank, and he has the Lurkers, but clearly at the 17 Lurkers on the way. Are you kidding me? 17 Lurkers, 2 Nidus networks as well. And I don't think he's going to be having any network connectivity issues when it comes to getting across the map, as Clem is barely able to deal with the more conventional units. Clem keeping up on supply, but he has no bank, whereas Reynor is building up a pretty comfortable one, though it isn't quite as high as it once was. Lurker, the spores on the perimeter, a small Scorcher to help zone it out. Liberators over the top, and the Queens, oh no! Oh, Brenda, no! What are you doing? A Venn diagram of freedom over one of the most questionable bases to try to fight against Liberators, and a big win for Clem across the board. He's killed, in the last 2.5 minutes, he's killed 10,000 minerals and 2,200 gas. Reynor's done less than half of that. But Reynor has mined 6,000 more minerals and 4,000 more gas. More queens assassinated by Widowmons, but the double Nidus in the main. There's no reinforcements. 17 lurkers in there. And I don't think there's anything to stop him. He gets into the main base. He gets into the third. Clem scrambling back to defend. But I think he's going to be scrambled more like an egg at this point, as the lurkers are cracking their way through the main base. The missile turret helping, scans, but there's not enough on the low ground to deal with the lurkers there. Clem has almost no gas left. Reynor continues to reinforce. He sends the Hydras across the map. He sends the lurkers through the Nidus. He sends the Lings everywhere else. The Queen... We've arrived! The Queens in the main base will take out the Liberators. They can take out the Orbital Command. And Reynor has overwhelmed and eclipsed Clem in this game. In what a full Zerg experience. Clem trying to scramble to defend, but Reynor is keeping the pressure on. Lurkers on the high ground, lurkers on the low, lurkers in the main, and lurkers in production. Clem is a prisoner inside of his own base. It started with that Reaper, but it didn't end with it. Reynor has played one of the most Zerg games of StarCraft 2 that I have ever seen, and Clem played a strong defense, but Reynor just kept the momentum. When I said that Reynor's one of the few people that can keep up with him, maybe I said it the wrong way around. Reynor with an incredible game. Mutas and lurkers, oh my. Are you biased because mutas are your favorite unit, Winter? Yes. But if you don't think that was great StarCraft 2, I don't know why you even watched to the end. It's been a while. Oh, we have more. Reynor, off to a strong start. Clem, still looking very good. Not completely keeping his cool and forcing Reynor into that transition. Forcing Reynor to go for the lurkers and the Nidus and eventually end up in that late game composition. But he did it quickly and smoothly. That is something Reynor, that's always been, and it was Clem's issue for a while as well, is these younger players, all right, always aggressive, incredible micro, but sometimes just leaning on a unit composition past its expiration date. Once the Terran gets to 200 supply and 4 bases, they have the upgrades, they have the economy. Mutas are past their expiration date. Okay? Unfortunately, nowadays, arguably, building them at all is past their expiration date because of that. But in this case, Reynor was able to leverage the mutas to carve open some map control and give himself the economy to just overwhelm Clem. But can he do it again? That is a map. You know, I wonder how much of that is Reynor hating that ledge. Okay, you may have seen Clem versus Shin. And if you haven't, you can pause and I'll wait. Oh, the name of the match that changed StarCraft 2 forever was one of my more original clickbaits, and by that I mean not. But in that match where Clem, and every Terran has been doing it, but Clem more than most, using the Reaper balcony on Maganatha. Are you lagging too? Or is it the Italian? I don't know if he's saying it's like a classic Italian internet problem, or that's... I'm afraid it is. The Italian... Okay, so you see, I want to point out something first. Do you see the typing? You might be like, is that just how they type? No, it's because the repeat rate of their keyboards when they're putting the letters into the, especially Reynor, but when they're putting the letters in, it puts multiple letters so quickly because rapid fire and just queuing up commands. It's literally, I remember Roddy talking about how it was, he made the mistake of trying to use like a computer that Reynor was using at some point at some event, and it was almost unusable to type. Because the moment he taps a key, apparently went into the registry somehow and made it effectively instantly repeating that command. And that's how players are able to queue up 100 Zerglings so quickly. That's how they're able to have those corrosive biles that spew out like they do with the repeat rate. And that is actually something. You can just set it in Windows if you're so inclined. But these players, I would assume Clem as well, have about as low as possible, and maybe even lower than that if you can find a way to do so. And that contributes to the unique way that StarCraft players type, I feel. Whether it's the disjointed sentences so you can get your build in while you're trash talking or complaining about lag, or the repeated letters. Either way. Don't let this take away from the fact that Clem is doing a casual 2 Reaper build. What is this? An odd one. I mean, he just built 2 Reapers. It's a little quirky. It's not crazy. It's not bad. It's just kind of odd. Even though it's even. Brenda, would you move more? Well, this is awkward. This is just bullying. The queens. Technically, 2 Reapers can beat a queen. A Hellion trying to get involved as well. The creep spread. Well, it's getting out there, but it takes some time. I got joint pain off a creep, of course. Clem, Cloak Banshee on the way, Hellions. +1 Carapace for Reynor. You know what I love? The return of Mutas. Alright. You know what I don't think we're gonna see again? Mutas. But I'm just happy we got one, okay? I'm very excited. That +1 Carapace is interesting. The Carapace applies to all Zerg units, ranged or melee. It's kind of a hedging your bets. He doesn't have a Roach Horn on the way, though. Which is interesting. Because almost always it's kind of a Roachling composition thing. But we'll see what Reynor has in store for us. Because it does come down to what Reynor wants to do, as it looks like. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Clem just does the same build every game. Because the Esports World Cup is coming up in less than a month from when this was played. Both these players are competitors. All right, both of them have won that or the equivalent tournament. Reynor a couple years ago, Clem last year. So I would not be surprised if Clem just does the exact same build in each matchup, the most standard. Because if he has any new strategies or new twists of strategy, which you might argue Clem plays the same thing every time. No, the details matter. They're just kind of boring. But in this case, almost exactly the same build. So, even down to the waiting on 2 Banshees. What I'm trying to say is they're hiding their strats. Maybe not Reynor. He went all out for the Mutas. And these players aren't reliant on sneaky cheeses most of the time, but... Ooh. The Queen almost taken out. Getting a little toasty, but more transfuses. Thank you, Lucille. Solidarity, Brenda. Yeah. Keep that energy up. Sounds a little communist, though, and we're queens, so... No, it's hive-minded. Oh, okay. Infestation pit on the way. I believe the Banshee spotted it. Yes. Is this an Ultralisk rush? Banshee's definitely spotted it. Does Clem adjust at all? There's not much to be done besides be cognizant of the fact that Zerg is probably teching up to Hive very quick. A single infester. Hive is on the way. 7-minute Hive. Whew. It's not the fastest, but it's on the... It's about as quick as you can get it while still having an actual army and mid-game economy. You can rush it faster, but then you're left with that being your entire strategy. So Clem, already setting up. He's got that siege tank Slams into the Queens. The Zergling shut down the reinforcements, the Banshee. More than enough to deal with it. But a couple infestors popping out. Reynor giving himself that literal stopgap in the form of fungal growth. Popping up again. The infestor there. And if the Marines don't have combat shield, the fungal is an existential threat. With combat shield, they can survive it in a decent amount more, but Clem, Hellbats, multiple tanks, definitely pushing forward, trying to get a little more done, as he knows that Hive Tech is very likely on the way. I think he spotted the infestors, but maybe not quick enough. The Queens will catch a round of them. Chains it through. One of the Queens taken out. Oh, the Frenchman with a revolutionary attack here. Gonna cut through dozens of, well, half a dozen Queens or so. If Reynor doesn't do something soon. But the Ultralisk Cavern. A drop over to the right flank. The Fungals. Oh, dodges it this time. Widowbot gets a whole lot of damage. But in the main base, the Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. Meanwhile, Reynor cutting up and clearing out the reinforcements. Clem struggling to actually find purchase here. The Medivacs tried to slip by and the Spore Crawler took him out. Reynor, 87 drones. Clem, 142 to 155 supply. He can't really afford to stay on this unit composition much longer once the Ultras hit the field. The Banshees still racking up the kills. 9, 8 kills. Does he have Cloak? He does, but Overseers are here. Get off! Well, the general area of my creep. Susan, you don't have to be specific, all right? No one's keeping track. Well, I like to be specific. It's important. Facts matter. Okay, Susan. All right. Infestors already underneath. 100 Zerglings. 3 Ultras with chitinous plating in production. Reynor with a massive counter into the main. Oh, the natural in the third. There's almost nothing to deal with this. Like, Clem is going to be losing dozens of SCVs and has almost nothing to show for it. It's a disaster. Even before the Ultras hit the field, Reynor has gutted Clem's economy. He's got Zerglings burrowed in the third. I think the Ultras are a GG moment here for Clem. Like, the Lings, and there's not even Banelings. Ultras, Fungal pops up, GG! Ultra doesn't even get a hit off, which is a little disappointing, but another decisive victory for Reynor, as he just chews through everything Clem has, and then some. Wow. Yeah, Clem, kind of on autopilot, it feels like. Whereas Reynor, clearly some inspired play. Feels like he's really shoring up the weak points that he usually has, which is mostly the either lack of spellcasters or tech in general. But game 1, while he didn't have many spellcasters, he got up to that Hive tech when he needed it. Game 2, Infestors straight into Ultras. And now, 2-0. Well, this is something. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, let's just be happy, alright? Don't read into it too much. Reynor's playing some great StarCraft 2 and Clem not able to keep up this time. And there's been plenty of situations, including on this map where Clem has turned things around and Reynor's gotten so tilted. I believe it was just a few weeks ago on this very map where it looked like Reynor had Clem's number, but when a Terran gets 10 command centers, 10 ghosts, and 10 liberators, well, they're never out of the game. Let's put it that way. 2 Rex Reaper. on the side of the map where the add-ons are exposed, which is, well, the right side is the wrong one for that. Spawning pool. See, when casters run out of, either lose their train of thought, or they've run out of things to... They didn't lose their train of thought, it just ended, and can't come up with anything to say to fill the silence. Boom, back to the production tab. 2 Reapers, 4 Zerglings in production. No third hatch yet. Like and subscribe for more pro tips. But the Reapers thrive when the Zerg doesn't... Well, when the Zerg undercommits or overcommits. It's just a tempo-based play, which sounds like one of those cop-out phrases, and it kind of is. But you've now decided the game is going to be lower economy and based around Marines and Medevacs, or just Mass Reaper. Like, that's also an option, arguably a bad one, depending on who you're up against, but you can win the game with Mass Reaper, whether it's Beyond or his metaphorical son here, Clem. Reapers are still capable of outright killing a Zerg, even with speed, even with queens. And Reynor is not building. Reynor does not expect more Reapers. The moment that use your words. That moment the 4th Reaper passed by the Overlord, he started building Lings as he realized, oh, wait a second. He even Extractor tricks out, I think, another queen? No, he failed there, though. He canceled some. He needed to get that queen out. And now the base is completed. Zergling speed in 12 seconds, but the hatchery is falling. It's going to be 5 Reapers. And that is a lot more to contend with. He's going to bounce. And the Zergling speed is done. He will not kill the hatch yet. The Zerglings trying to get the wraparound. Might be able to kill the reinforcing Reaper. Oh, beautiful grenade out of Clem, though. Gets back behind the mineral line, but he's not done. Even the queens are coming down. And the Zerglings will eventually get the wraparound, and the Reapers will be ripped to shreds, I say. But not before making a whole deal out of it. All right, so now what? Reynor just now bouncing back on the drone count. He's got a permanently, well, near permanently damaged hatchery that will take probably more than the length of this game to heal up on its own. The Zerglings, there's already Marines, so the tech lab should not be under threat, despite the fact there's no way he's going to repair it. It would just cost... I don't think he'd even get it, and it would cost too many Zerglings in the first place. So, now what? 12 more drones on the way. I think he went for the hatch, he didn't get it. He killed 11 Lings? That's not enough. This is advantage to Reynor, yet again. He needed to get the hatch, or really slaughter the Lings. No objectives accomplished, and it's very clear to Reynor, like, there's only one follow-up to this. It's Marines. Okay, and then the follow-up to that is more Marines. That's it. That's the whole setup. What are you attacking? Oh, rocks. The queens gonna help out. Are we even doing any damage, Brenda? Emotional damage, all right? They said I was stone cold, but look at these rocks. Are you doing a bit? No, I'm doing a fight, Susan. Tell them to like and subscribe. Sorry, I am blanked out for a moment. Double medevacs. Lair quite delayed, but he can get away with it because there's no cloak banshees coming across. Baneling speed would be great to have, but a lot of Zerglings seems to be the order of the day. Double drop headed out. And Reynor. So many Zerglings. He's going to be looking to defend. He has no other tech. No Roach Warren, no Bane Nest, Queens and Lings. The creep is already so far out. The creep off the creep tumors, but he sees the Marine. He's already got more things on the way. There's no upgrades for either side. He gets the wraparound forces that lift, and the queens will politely yet firmly ask those medevacs to leave. Creep Tomb are going to be taken out. Overlord, maybe? Going to take down the... Well, he can't really decide what he wants. Reynor. I feel like he's going to finish that lair and start an infestation pit immediately. Feels like the type of game we're in. Yes. All right, there it is. Another Hive rush. Not going to be quite as quick as last game, but he's got such an economic force behind it. 4 or 5 bases. Clem does have 3. He's got 3 more racks on the way. But he's working off of, well, actually, no. That's the Octo racks. He's going to have mass, Marines, and medevacs. Because, of course, he is. But, double drop headed for the main. The Zerglings sprint to defend. And we'll be there in time. They can't quite fly, but, you know, they're pretty close. On creep. Reynor headed towards 80 drones. Infester on the way. Hive. Wait, no. Hive. Gets it with only 10 gas to spare as well. The queens in position. Almost take down one of the medevacs over to the right side. And Clem is forced back yet again. Here we are. Double infester. Deja vu. We've just been in this place before. But Clem has... Well, he's going for the 8 racks. If Reynor gets to ultras, that's almost a win condition. That heaping, hunking slab of meat that is the ultra, covered with chitinous plating. Yeah, gotta follow that one up somehow. Is too much for the Marines to handle, especially without a huge upgrade advantage. The Marines end up doing like 1 or 2 damage a hit, which is simply not enough. It takes Marauders, it takes at least Widow Mines to deal with it at that state. But we're not there yet. Clem, with so many Marines on the map. 70 Marines against 154 Zerglings. And even more in production. No Baneling challenge. That's mass Zergling. Big counterattack coming in. Ultraless Cavern is on the way. But the siege tanks are moving forward. The Zerglings cutting off the reinforcements. There are so many Zerglings he has to deal with. The Spine Crawler going to stall things out for a bit. Double drop to the north side. Queen's in position to help defend. The Zerglings being cut down by withering fire from the Marines. And suddenly things looking a little dicier as Clem goes up 20 supply, but the medevac is taken out of the sky. Siege tank push continues forward. 2-2 upgrades will finish a little earlier for Clem. Pre-splits against the Fungals. Meanwhile, Spore Crawler taken down. Siege tanks in position. Doesn't target fire the infestors, and that may cost him. But the Fungals are not enough to cut down the Marines. Reynor down to 140. Going to potentially lose a hatchery if he had a double drop here. That'd be so massive, but no. Didn't lose that many Marines back at home. And Reynor, another Fungal walking right into the infestors, but he gets most of the Marines out. Reynor with 3 ultras in production. Chitinous plating as well. Did not get adrenal glands, but he's hurting for money. The base itself under fire. The Marines are stimming forward. Stutter stepping their way towards potential victory. It's going to be down to the hero lists. But he lets some of the Zerglings in. He's going to tear down this wall from either side. And we'll see. Oh, saves the tank. Gets to the high ground. Reinforcements from the other side of the map as Clem scrambles back home to defend, which will give Reynor that tiny bit of breathing room in order to get the Ultralists on the field. But I think Clem had to come back home, because otherwise he'd have no home to come back to. Well, where does that leave us? Wow, over 2 minutes. Clem killed 0 gas of units, because the only gas units were the infestors, and somehow he didn't kill any of them. Triple drop loaded up. Reynor back down to 3 bases, but he still has 60-something drones. Chitinous plating is about to complete, and the Daddy-Lisks are home. No ultra speed on the way, but the ultras existing. Marauders in production. Clem has done enough to keep Reynor back for now. Marines and Marauders. Oh, the Fungal. Oh, no! It's a disaster! The Ultras will cleave through everything, and that's a GG of Infestors. He doesn't know it yet. He's not sure about it. But I don't see Clem taking stock of the situation and saying, you know what, I can fight this out. Yeah. What? Okay, Zergs. Terrans, you can skip 30 seconds forward. Zergs. Come here. Come here. No. That's a spicy meatball. Match point for Reynor. The Italian stallion cleaves his way through. Welcome back, Terrans. All right, we can finish off that BattleNet post. Don't. Oh, he's just got to do the Reapers. Okay. Thought he was going to send out. You know, I wouldn't put it past Clem. Go for the proxy rags here. Clem a little bit slow on the draw. Reynor more than happy to pick up the slack. And Clem obviously not having his best day, but Reynor really quite... The fact that it went down to 3 base versus 3 base is what gave Clem a shot to drag it back, but those Fungals really put it right back down. Well, we'll see. Got quite a hill to climb. I don't think I've seen Reynor win 3 games in a row against Clem in, like, at least a year. Clem sandbagging for the World Cup. I don't, like, no, this is, Reynor is playing very well, despite the classic Italian internet. Maybe that's what he needs. He needs to lag so hard he doesn't second guess himself. For these players, I feel like having more than 50 ping feels like lag. Though, much of the time they're used to playing against Koreans. So, what usually happens for tournaments, some tournaments will switch servers back and forth, like Europe to Korea, and that means one player will have a severe advantage. Some tournaments will split the difference and play on US West. Is usually the server that they both have about 120 to 50 ping, which I don't like talking about it. I don't think it adds anything to the conversation to talk about how online tournaments are played with a decent bit of lag, but all players have been doing it for years. Okay. I feel like the players prefer to switch servers back and forth, so at least you know where you stand, rather than play with a bit of ping. But, I think from a spectator, caster, commentator, tournament perspective, it's better to split the difference. More consistent, but... Roach Warren on the way. Reynor, looking to get a little spicy. Six Zerglings as well. Oh, and Clem, he built the Threepers. Wait, what did he see? No third base? Was this a pull first time? Honestly, I was too busy pontificating. I think he knows, yeah. He realizes that aggression is coming, but he may not be ready for the level of aggression. The Zerglings in play. Just showing that many lings. Like, 4 roaches in production. Now, Clem will have... He's building 5 Marines at a time. And he's going to have stim. Will he have stim by the time the roaches get across the map? I don't think so. The Threepers, Reynor, very intentionally hiding the roaches. Going to try to sneak around the right side. And if he can do so, while Clem plays Ring Around the Rosie with the Zerglings. Oh, the roaches almost went too close. At some point, he's just got to bite the Reaper bullets and show them. And there it is. Are there any bunkers on the way? No. There's a bunker. Clem. Starting to take this with the severity it deserves. But the Marines on the high ground. There is no high ground vision right now for Reynor. He's got to bring this Overlord forward. I know you're going. The Ravagers. Corrosive Bile. Oh, he leans into it. The SCV's out in front. Stim still 30 seconds out. And that's a long time when they're knocking on the door. The bunker's about to complete, though. He might be able to snipe Stim. It would very well be worth it, even if he loses a Ravager or two. More SCVs coming down. Clem committing to defending it. Marauder comes out of the wrong side of history, but manages to get back in, and he shuts the door in his face. That is a miracle for Clem that he was able to survive and get Stim and get the Marauder out of there. Very lucky. But this isn't over yet. Reynor has 19 drones. He has all sorts of in right now. Do or die. If he doesn't do critical damage or win the game outright, Clem just easily marches across. A dozen more Lings, slowly but surely chewing his way through. The SCVs, there's almost no space to repair here. So they're just going to have to let it go. He lifts up the orbital, the barracks. Doesn't quite knock it down with the corrosive bile. That single bunker, there's so many more Lings. He's trying to bait Clem into stimming. He hasn't shown the Lings. Clem doesn't know. And what he doesn't know can very much hurt him. He forced him to lift. Here come the Zerglings. Clem with the stims. He zones out with the corrosive bile. Knocks out the bunker. Will chase down the Marines. And Clem, pulling the rest of the boys from the high ground, has barely any production. A couple burning racks. A couple more without add-ons. Zoning things out. There's still 25 to 19 SCVs. But Clem only has naked Marines here with Stim. That Stim is permanent damage, so if he doesn't actually clear this up solidly, it doesn't really matter. The corrosive bile is going to take down one of the racks. Still 5 Ravagers, making this an almost impossible proposition. Retreating up to the high ground. Another barracks will go down. One more Marine Stim's out of there, Billy! He's not going to make it. The Overlord. I know. The Marine just dies. The double depot may actually supply block Clem. 46 over 46. As the Ravager siege continues. It might just be too much. Like, Clem now is equal on workers. He doesn't have a third command center. He just has the Marines on the high ground. Gonna take down the factory. At least the starport will finish. This is such a slow move for how intensely all in this is. There's still so many Zerglings. There's even a couple drones here that Reynor accidentally hockeyed in with his eggs. But you're gonna go home? He sends the drones. Drones with it. Predator drones. And the Ravagers up to the high ground. There's nothing to stop them. The boys are both the main orbital command of all things. The SCVs are falling. The Marines stim for the last time. The medevac may come out, but it's already over. Reynor takes it. A clean sweep. 4-0. Bringing us to our bonus game. Something a little special to top things off. But wow, I knew that would be a quicker series, but did I expect Reynor to win 4-0? The chances of that, I think, are in the low single digits, according to a League. Like, almost impossible. And it wasn't a fluke. He outplayed him in every game. There were a couple that may have turned the other way, but there's something that always turns the other way. Our anti-spoiler game. Bronze League Heroes. Let me introduce our heroes. Yes, you begged for it. You asked for it. Like 4 people continually making comments. reminding me of it. In the red, it's Mad Max. Joined by the only Zerg player in the match, Ramanujan. Ramen. On the other side is Wild and Angel. 2 more Protoss. There are 2 forges in production. The multi-cannon rush can begin. I mean, maybe they're just doing a Forge Fast expand, like it's 1999. Probably not. This is team games. Not sure. I believe this is mid-Metal Leagues. Because Bronze League Heroes is about the spirit of Bronze League Heroes. And Spirit sometimes plays like one, but not so much being in Bronze. I believe it's Gold and Platinum-ish. So, for those who want to judge based on their experience playing 10 years ago, well, there you go. Cannons on either side. Angel with 1, Mad Max with 1. Wild comes down with his probes. Another one on the way. So the pylon just on the outside. The cannon on the... Is this a hard wall? Maybe. There's the probe. Citizens Arrest tag teamed by both enemy probes. Nobody hates Protoss more than Protoss. 2 defensive cannons from Mad Max. Angel still only has a forge, and he's happy to use it. Angel slaps down a pylon. The pylon will be outflanked by the cannon of Angel. There's still a probe on the high ground here. Macro! He's got a build. Unfortunately, I don't think the Protoss care about his build, as there are cannons on the way. Macro is an odd thing to say when there are 2 cannons in production outside your base, but more drones coming down. Wild is like, these Protoss players need to just chill out. Everybody needs to chill. I'm trying to build some drones, trying to play like Reynor over here. And so far, doing a pretty good job of it. Shutting down the cheese and trying to emotionally stabilize the game. But Angel just flips the... Okay, what is wrong with you people? And by you people, I mean Protoss as a race. It's okay. Some of my best friends are Protoss. They're the only ones who can maintain them. Plenty of time because they don't need to practice. Got him. Mad Max with a base in the bottom left corner. Angel with a base at the 6 o'clock. I remind you, those Protoss are not on the same team, but great minds think alike. And even less great minds think even more aliker. Put that on a dish towel. Stargate proxy / expand for Angel. Multitasking is important in this game. He still has 1 probe on hold position, it looks like, on the other side. Meanwhile, Mad Max making sure he's got those gas geysers. We've got 2 Robos, 2 Stargates, and 2 Nexi in the production tab. But not all in the same one. You can figure out the rest for yourself. A lot of cannons here. So, we go the classic cannon into Void Ray. Well, is it gonna be Void Rays? It's gotta be Void Rays, right? The stereotype is there for a reason. He had a perfectly good base he could have expanded to over here. But no. There's only 1 cannon. It's on the wrong side of the wall. This is going to get real awkward when Wild scouts this base by expanding normally. If Angel had put his Stargates anywhere else, he might not have noticed. We'll see if Wild notices, because, of course, minimap awareness is not a skill you usually learn until you want to criticize pro players in a YouTube cast. So, there are 2 Void Rays on the way. Wild... Oh, it's 1 pixel! Oh, no! Angel has lucked out here. Will he actually? He sees the hatchery. 1 pixel. Unfortunately, this wall-off is... Well, he's got a baneling nest. The Zerglings are scouring. He's even looking for it. He even has an idea that this is a possibility. Unfortunately, little does he know. When the hatch finishes, he will realize. Angel is building a cannon behind this. Wait. No, wait. Wild is the other Protoss player. It's Ramen. Oh my, I'm confused. I've been giving Wild all the credit. Well, Wild is at least sane-ish. as he puts the pylon spread. I mean, having the pylon efficiency and necessary infrastructure safety. That rating is important to maximize. The pen is rating, as I say in Angry Coach all the time. And it seems like Wild here with a wild idea of how to do that. Meanwhile, Ramen. Baneling speed is one way to counter a wall. There is no wall anymore as Wild took it down. Yes, Wild is a shapeshifter. Oh, and double star. Yes, even less great minds think even more alikest. Darmok Enchilada Tanagra. Void Rays when the hatch fell. And of course, 4 Void Rays. The Zerglings will come down out of solidarity in a Selecto Army Haki. He charges them up, which doesn't do any more damage to the Zerglings, but it does look very scary. The cannon will take almost whole damage, and the hatchery will die. So Ramen, he has a bunch of Banelings, which he's not going to send to the front, but instead, he'll send to deal with this. Mad Max may be able to outflank. He has enough Void Rays to actually make a difference here, so he chooses not to. Meanwhile, the Banelings are about to be rolling down. Not sure what the plan is here, but well, goes straight for the cannons, the pylons, and he's perfectly min-maxed the damage to not... So he managed to not only not kill the probes, but he also managed to not delay the Void Rays. Angel lights up his Void Rays because it makes him feel less dead inside. As he deals with another wave of Zerglings. Mad Max is now 3/4 the way to the 4 corners bingo strategy. All these players with room temperature APM, and now whether it's, and also way too cheap to turn on the heat. So, the Void Ray swinging in. Hydra's on the way. Not enough. A fleet beacon in production for Mad Max over in the bottom left corner. We'll head to the main. Recall is available from Angel. Does he know what recall is? Does he recall it? We're going to find out. Doesn't matter. Mad Max lights up. Gotta take down the main base. The Zerglings still trying and still failing to take down these cannons. Recall, says Wild, who actually seems to know some of the abilities and units in this game. But he's saying that while his 4 Immortal 2 Colossus timing is hitting the front lines. The Spore Crawlers come up to outflank. Flux Veins is on the way. Obviously that's what you go for. Depowers the Stargates. The Void Rays at the back. We're in a full-on base trade scenario. The cannons outflanked by the Colossi. They do have extended thermal lance. Our Stargate players do not have any upgrades, but Flux Veins may very well be the first one. Mad Max, well, okay. Spore Crawlers doing pretty well. Prismatically aligned Void Rays do more damage against Spore. They do a bonus to armored, and all buildings are armored. Two Stalkers warped in. Oh my. Ain't no kill like overkill. Targets the Nexus. Wild is yelling at his cannon rushing into Void Ray teammate to do something. But unfortunately, what he's doing is sending his Void Rays into the corner, where probes are attacking probes and successfully slaughtering Mad Max's economy. He's down to 20 probes and dropping to the probe assault. Probe on probe action. The lengths these cannon rushers will go to pretend they don't have teammates and then wonder why they lose. Alright, the probe civil war has continued into the 10-minute mark. He's gonna remove this base. Mad Max, where did the Void Rays? The Void Rays are over here. Angel has enough money to build another Nexus. So now we have to talk about how many buildings are left. As it feels like Wild is just gonna win the game, even if Mad Max has Void Rays. Because there's only, like, Rahman is about to get eliminated from the game. That is his last extractor. He literally has... Can you still fight in team games when... Well, he has no buildings, but his teammate has not been eliminated. I wasn't actually sure. Angel has also not rebuilt his base and is being revealed. So, Wild is also building the entirety of the tech tree pretty much at this point. 2 cyber cores, 5 gateways, +2, +1. He's doing all this with exactly the same APM and IQ as his cannon rushing teammate. Unfortunately, not a single one of these units hits Void Rays, so they will die if the Void Rays burninate through the countryside. The observer will stand by. So now what? And Mad Max isn't done. Wait, no, that's your teammate. You don't want to cannon rush your teammate. I mean, maybe you do, but there's probes. Ugh. The Void Ray. Wait. There's only so many buildings. The Void Rays will light up. Is Recall. Recall is still on cooldown. Mad Max, they're just targeting Nexi. The Void Rays laser focused, all puns intended. Wild could warp in Stalkers. Chooses not to. Recall is now available for Mad Max. That is the last Nexus. These are depowered. Okay. He will recall back home. Angel. Unfortunately, doesn't have the reaction time, nor does he have Flux Phase. So he will lose the Void Rays. But here come the Stalkers. More stockpile, everyone. All right. And here we go. More. No, those are probes. Of course, those are probes. The Stalker's not remotely enough to deal with these Void Rays. Angel recalls. He's rebuilt a Nexus. Has almost as many probes as he started with. Mad Max has 3 workers. Robin has 9 of them. The second spawning pool is on the way here at the 12-minute mark. Not a single one of these players has invented army splitting technology, so they can only be in one place at one time. But if, well, Wild, I don't know why the probes are here. A wild move indeed, but he's going to go for the full-on base trade. Charge lots. The probes will be slaughtered, but you need buildings in order to win the game. Well, he can't recall back, and he's not going home. The starting cannon will not be taken out. Okay, none of them can float their buildings. He's gonna pop out a Void Ray, it's just gonna die. He builds another Nexus! That's the solution. Alright, we're just going Nexus sniping. Somehow... okay. They are all in on the base trade here. They will not be revealed. Another Nexus dies. Wild really... he doesn't have enough for another one. That's the last one he can build. Angel is building again. He's got a Stargate on the way because of course he does. You know what the counter to way more Void Rays is? Less Void Rays. Very simple answer. You already knew that. Archons! Zerglings, not a great counter. No! Put me back! Put me back! No, Brenda. Another Nexus targeted, and Wild is out. Oh, wait, he's got... what? 2... how many players have... Robin has left the game. Mad Max still has enough Void Rays. The Nexus will be found. Recall is now available. There's enough Stalkers. +2, 1, 1. But those Void Rays should potentially... well... Angel can send enough money to Mad Max for him to rebuild a Nexus. But I don't think he's made any effort... oh, yeah, that's also where we can build some Stargates. Oh, but he found the Nexus. There's only 2 buildings left. There's 1 pylon at the Watchtower. He's gonna go for the Nexus, but he may lose his own. Does he recall in time? No. He has enough to build another Nexus, and he only has 2 probes left. The timer has started to being revealed for Mad Max. He's just gonna slap a Nexus down. Unfortunately, the stalled mining probes. Wild has not rebuilt his base and is being revealed. Has everyone in the game been revealed yet? There it is! Mad Max has not rebuilt his base and is being revealed. And now he's gonna fight the army. It all comes down to this. He doesn't have prismatic alignment. He's fighting against the Archons. He can't keep doing this, though. He's running away. Angel is still mining. Because of course he is. The rat he is. And now, once again, fearing direct confrontation. But I don't think this well, Angel has not sent any money to Wild, which I think we would have seen any chat. The pings. There's a ping. He knows the base is there. Angel's trying to rebuild Void Rays, because of course he does. There's 2 pylons and a Nexus. He's going. Do not light up those Void Rays. He finds the Nexus. How is this still in the game? The probes are on the run across the entire map. It's a disaster piece. Mad Max, there's no Nexus. They can't Angel has enough to rebuild. He has 400. He has not rebuilt his... I think he's being revealed for the 2nd or 3rd time this game, but... They can't find the Nexus. They don't know where it is. Angel rebuilds with 24 extra minerals in the bank. Mad Max does not have enough to perpetuate this. The Void Rays will find the Nexus. He must recall. The moment it finishes, he must recall. He depowers. It's time! He must recall! He does! Will it go through? And will it matter? There's still 2 pylons! The Void Rays are taken out, but then he tries to micro. It's a disaster! The Void Rays, after all this, no GG. They will be hunted down and destroyed. And you thought Clem versus Reynor was a tense series. This is where the real action is. Angel and Wild, despite... Well, Wild feels like he was the only sane one, somewhat ironically. Whereas everyone else in the game flailed around with their spawning pools and their cannons and their Void Rays, Wild desperately trying to hunt down the last Nexus, and he gets it. Though I'm sure Angel will take all the credit. Well, that concludes our anti-spoiler bonus game. And our video for today. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made your day a little bit better. If you have games you'd like to send in, I can't guarantee anything ever, but in general, winterreplays@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership, but I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So, thank you for watching. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons, Big Jiggy, Devin Door, Kate, Mario, Random Guy, and Suit for bringing in the extra minerals. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.